No, you weren't imagining it. I am saying that Asmongold is telling us we're winning. Hey everybody, today we're going to dive into Asmongold's bold declaration that we're winning. Yeah, that's right. According to Asmongold, the fans are finally turning the tide in this battle against Hollywood's incessant disregard for their audiences, the fans, the people who build things. And it's not just empty words either. There's an actual report that admits Hollywood execs are battling fans. Battling fans. And of course, that's a fight that they're clearly losing. Take a look at the latest from Warner Brothers and what happened to Joker 2. Not to mention a long line of things that really were just thrown out there to offend the general populace. A way to deliver your favorite heroes in a way that you were absolutely going to hate. So let's talk about that article from Variety, because it is a big deal. Adam B. Very titled it Toxic Fandom, Hollywood Battling Fans Who Are Just Out for Blood. From social media boot camps to super fan focus groups. First off, I love that Hollywood considers fans who care deeply about franchises that they love to be toxic. I think that is another misuse of a word that is, well, deteriorating it. And you know, the neo-Marxists love to do that. They're toxic because they don't want fans who care deeply about the franchises they love to be toxic. They're toxic because they don't want studios trampling all over the stories and the characters that mean something to them, that they invested in. They're toxic because they think that the integrity of a beloved series should be preserved and not twisted beyond recognition, which is what's been happening for about the last 6 to 8 years. Which means that apparently expecting some consistency in your entertainment makes you toxic now. Or it just makes you a fan, somebody who cares about the integrity of the thing that you helped build. Because that's what fandom is. So Asmongold was talking about this, hit the nail on the head when he said, that's exactly right. I'm glad they understand. This whole situation makes it abundantly clear Hollywood's fighting against its own audience. Now, Asmongold didn't stop there either. He called out how ridiculous it is that these studios think that the fans are the problem for simply wanting what was originally promised. You either meet the audience expectations or you die. It's plain and simple. That's the way it works economically in capitalism. Something which actually built your studios in the first place, Hollywood. So maybe pay attention. And when it comes right down to it, that's the crux of the whole report. This whole Hollywood is living in a lose-lose situation of its own making. They want to inject narratives and ideologies into stories while disregarding the audience entirely. And when it backfires, they just blame those fans instead of owning up to their own mistakes, which is foolhardy. It also kind of shows exactly what you're doing. And it's pretty easy to guess what your motivations are. And of course, Asmongold said, no, Hollywood, you're the problem, trying to force this type of stuff into the show. And he's right. And of course, this is where things get funny. Hollywood actually started hiring super fans to screen projects to tell them if they were going to enrage audiences. And as it turns out, the super fans are pretty vocal. One exec said that they will just tell us if you do that, fans are going to retaliate. Well, at least they're finally listening to somebody, maybe, or they're just bringing them in to ignore them, which seems to be what happened when it came to Joker 2, despite the fact that they said they had no test screenings. I can't believe that. I mean, they auditioned it in front of all the festival crowds multiple times. And at least they were telling us the truth, which is fans are going to hate this. Of course, Asmongold responded to that with an all-time classic, something that I will never forget. This is a good decision. You know what this shows? It shows that we're winning. And of course, that's true. Take that to heart. It's an important message. We're winning. Hollywood's attempts to ignore the audience have backfired completely across the board ever since they started to gaslight us in the first place. They're now at the point where they have to bend to fan feedback. That's you. Because you can't force people to like what you're putting out there. They just won't. And if people don't want it, they're not going to buy it. And it's really just that simple. And of course, Asmongold had to bring up the iconic example of Sonic the Hedgehog. The first trailer for that movie was so horrendously bad, if you remember, I do. The entire internet revolted, or at least the people that cared about Sonic. So what did the studio do? Well, They went back to the drawing board and they gave the fans what they wanted. Now, fast forward to now, we're getting Sonic 3, which means what they did was very successful. And you've got Keanu Reeves playing one of the Sonic fan favorites, Shadow. See, this is what happens when you actually care about your audience and what they think. Hollywood can learn a thing or two from the Sonic movie team. But of course they didn't, or at least they didn't pay close enough attention, because here we are years later and they're still learning this lesson. How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? Of course, another good point that Asmongold made during his rant was that the folks in Hollywood have this misguided belief that they're a moral authority. And I've been ranting about that for a long time. They're the farthest thing from it. They are so corrupt and degenerate. It's one of the most disgusting places on earth. And yet, they actually think that they can put out whatever they want with whatever garbage is in it, and audiences are obligated to like it. Or worse, that there's something wrong with the audience if they don't. So if a movie or show doesn't meet audience expectations, people aren't going to watch it. No amount of finger pointing and blaming the toxic fandom is actually going to change that. It just doesn't. These companies aren't morally entitled to our approval, and they'll never get it if they don't make good things. They earned it before by creating good content. And if they don't create good content, they lose. Simple economics, once again. So we come back to the question, are we really winning? And if you look at the fallout in entertainment industry right now, well, it sure seems that way. Studios are struggling, box office flops are piling up, and the fans have had enough of being disregarded. So much so that they just don't even bother to go to the theater anymore. And now we've got this report. It comes straight from Hollywood, admitting that they are, in fact, battling us, the fans, which is you, which is me. Once again, Asmongold said it best. You don't get to blame the audience because they didn't want to buy what you were selling. So if Hollywood wants to keep sinking hundreds of millions of dollars into projects that nobody wants, then that's on them, not on us. We're just here to remind them of one thing. We're the customers. We have the power. All right, folks, so on that note, I just want to hear from you. Audience participation time. What do you think about the variety piece? Are the fans winning? Or is this just another example of Hollywood not understanding their own audience? Or is it both? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. And are you seeing more of these fights between studios and the fans? I am. Have you ever felt like you were the problem simply not liking a show or a movie? I want to know. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing. It's very simple and it's free. Turn the red button to gray and hit that little bell icon so we can try to get up to 50K. Because if you can catch everything that I'm making, I think that'll be useful indeed. Also, take the extra step, please. I would appreciate it. Get this out on Meta, Insta, or whatever you've got, wherever you hang out socially. And you know what? Share it over on Twitter, because you know I sure will. As always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until the next time, see ya.